Hey everybody, thanks so much for joining me here today on our Mindset and Motivation Monday. I'm excited to be with you. Love today's topic. It's one that I've really been thinking about over the past couple of weeks, and that is the topic of, or essentially the mantra, create what you wish existed. The reason why it's been on my mind is because obviously many of you know I have two daughters. They're getting older, 8 and 10 years old, and they start to, I should say I've been doing this for a while, but I try to see the world through their eyes. I try to think back to when I was a kid, how I felt at 8 years old, 10 years old. And although the years can be a little fuzzy, me thinking back, I can always understand and I can always remember and relate to it not necessarily being easy. Like you do have struggles, even though you're a kid and you're only 8 years old, 10 years old, whatever it might be. And I think as a child, you know, a lot of the times that we are really expecting the adults in our life to have everything figured out. We're expecting them to be able to show us the way. We're expecting them to have all of the answers and that they'll always be there when you need them. And I think that for many of us, you know, luckily we had parents that were there for us, that they did their very best, maybe not perfect. Nobody's perfect, right? I can't be perfect for my daughters. I try my very best, but you know, I know at the end of the day, I can only do what I can do and I can only draw upon what I know. So I'm simply trying to do my best. And I just think that as a child though, you see the world through a different lens, through a different viewpoint. And you're expecting everyone else to always be there to help you. And then as you get to be maybe a teenager, you start to say, okay, you know, you don't have a very good view of the world yet, but you've got a better view. And you start to say like, wow, everyone's really busy. You know, my parents are busy. I'm busy. The world seems to be a little bit more complex than I thought it to be, right? Like you're there yet you're struggling a bit. You're trying to do more on your own, but you still are certainly relying on other people to help you get by. Maybe not so much for finances. Maybe you have your own job now. You're a little bit, you know, on your own at that point. You have to do your own homework, your own test. Nobody else can do that for you because you're at an age certainly where that's your wheelhouse. You know, like there's not a lot of parents, you know, drawing back on their advanced calculus days to help you study for that test. And so, you know, that's really what you're doing. And of course you have relationships and you have all sorts of other things going on when you are a teenager. And that's a very difficult time too. There's just no doubt about that. But you know, as you get to be an adult and you have a job, you've got rent to pay, you've got car payments, you've got all these different things, and you're trying to stay healthy, you're trying to do what it is that you want to do with your life, you realize that, wow, everyone's in pretty much the same boat. They really are. I mean, I draw back to my days, my days as a young 22-year-old nutritionist and personal trainer, working literally sun up to way past sundown. And I got to meet with some of the most interesting people in the world. It was literally my favorite time that I can draw back upon because, you know, I'm meeting all these people like CEOs of companies, executives, salespeople, teachers, like you name it. I was working with them as clients. And I got to know a lot about them because I would meet them with them once or twice or maybe even 3 times a week. And during that time between sets, if you're doing personal training, you get to talk with your client. That's one of the beauties about one-on-one personal training. And then with nutrition, I get to ask them all about the time of their day, what their day looks like, how it's structured, how I can set up a meal plan based on their unique needs. So what I realized was like, it didn't matter whether someone's, you know, making $25,000 a year 20 plus years ago, or they're making, $10 million a year. I realized that no matter who it was, they all had their own life. They all had their own struggle. So all the people who were making maybe $20,000 a year, they would look at someone making $1 million, $10 million a year, and they're like, oh, that person must have it easy. When it's not the case. It's just different problems. Like that's really it. And what I found is that, and then this isn't meant to be a doom and gloom here, Mindset and Motivation Monday. So, you know, you'll have to bear with me for just a moment. I am getting there. We have to understand this, is that we transition from being a child where we're looking for others for help to maybe a teenager and maybe even early 20s where we're maybe looking to our friends for guidance and our peers, to then become an adult and realizing, wow, we've got a lot of responsibility. And now it seems like everybody's on their own. Like it's every man and woman for themselves, right? Like that's what it seems to be. And what I don't want you to ever look past though, is that most people genuinely do want to help. They really do. It's just they're as busy as you are, right? So when you call them up and you ask for that favor, you text them, nobody calls anymore, but you text them, right? You might email them. And when they're not able to respond with a wholehearted, like, yeah, I can't wait, you have to understand is like, they're as busy as you. Whatever you have going on in your life, they have that too. Maybe not the same exact area with relationships or finances or career or health or, body transformation, spirituality, whatever it might be, but they have their own thing going on. And so it doesn't mean that they're giving up on you. It doesn't mean that other people don't want to help you. They do. My realization has been this. People are willing to get on the phone. They are willing to answer your questions. They are willing to give you some guidance. They're willing to talk things through. What they can't do is do it for you. It's no longer like when you're a kid, be like, hey, can you just do this for me? Can you just help me with this? That seems to fade away. You have the occasional project. You can ask somebody to help you move, those types of things. I get it. I understand. But for life's big things, like you're not able to figure out how it is to get healthy, fix your relationship, get a new career, get promoted, improve your financial situation, improve your spiritual-based studies and education and philosophy in life. Like, these are big questions. These are big topics. And I'm here to tell you that although you can certainly ask others for guidance, it is really you that needs to bring this into your life. And that is, again, not to be overwhelming. It's just to let you know that what you deem to be interesting or adamant that you need to have in your life right now that needs to be solved, the problem that needs to be solved, it may not be someone else's right now. It might not necessarily be top of mind for them. And oftentimes we think about, hey, this is what I'm thinking about. We think other people are necessarily on the same page when they're not. Because again, they have their own life and their own worries and their own obstacles and their own struggles to deal with. Doesn't mean that they may not have an amazing life, but just think about it. If you have kids, or if you're just starting out your job, you know how much time and effort goes into these things, and there's not necessarily as much day left at the end of the day that you would like to be able to work on you, to be able to work on the things that you want to work on. But that doesn't mean it shouldn't be important. And it doesn't mean you can't get started. So what I've realized is this, and what I really believe in is that ask others for advice. Ask others for tips. Don't ask others to do. Actually create yourself that which you wish existed inside of your life, but also the world itself. You're like, oh, the news is too negative. This is too negative. That, again, I hear this all the time, and I don't disagree, like, whatsoever. Okay, so what can you do? Like, are you doing anything right now? Well, for you inside of your world, what you can do is choose not to listen to the news. Choose to get positive inside information for you of all the positive things going on right now. And they're out there. There's no doubt about it. You just have to look for them. And then what could you do? Well, again, you're trying to be that change that you wish existed, right? You're trying to be the change that you wish you saw in the world. So what are you trying to do? Well, you're then trying to bring that then maybe to social media. Hey, this is something amazing that existed. I follow a few different people. One of them is Jay Shetty, and he always has a positive video, like every day, every other day, of something heartwarming. And so that's something positive then we're bringing to the world. What are you doing? Well, I wish there was more positivity in the world. That's one of Jay Shetty's things, right? So what does he do? Well, he shows you more positive things in terms of love, relationships, human-to-human connection. So that's one thing. But also, it can be self-serving. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, you wish that you were able to lose 60 pounds so you didn't have as much joint pain, inflammation, heart disease, high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, feeling brain fog, fatigue, like all of those things. Okay, well, that's a fine reason. So what do you need to do? Well, you need to actually then, again, no one else can do that work for you. However, there are people out there that can give you tips, that can give you guidance. It's just at the end of the day, it's just your job to be the one to implement this. And that can seem hard and it can seem harsh and overwhelming. But again, the nice thing is this. There are people there that are willing to cheer you on along the way. And that's the beauty of online support groups or a coach, a personal trainer, a nutritionist, an integrative health practitioner, whatever it might be. But at the end of the day, it is you with you making it happen. And I want to share with you this, though. I actually think that that's amazing. So that I go back to 100% personal responsibility. Like, I take responsibility for all of the bad things that happen in my life. Now, am I 100% responsible? Probably not, but I'm part of it, right? I'm part of it. So I can do better. I can try to get better. But the nice thing is too, like if something goes well, I'm taking responsibility for that too. Why not? Am I only supposed to take responsibility for the negative? I won't have too much of a self-image and self-confidence if I'm only taking responsibility for all the negative outcomes in my life. So no, I get to take responsibility for the good ones too. Now, that doesn't mean other people aren't responsible and helpful in making all of that happen. Anything that I do in terms of my let's say career, I'm also saying, yeah, my team helped me get there as well. My wife helped me get there too. My children were there too. My parents, like it's all of the different people that have helped lead to this. But ultimately, I was the one who took action. I was the one who took action to get myself healthy many, many years ago. And I had to take action after action after action for 10 years. And it was debilitating. I kept asking for advice. I kept asking for guidance. And I eventually got there. Same for body transformation. I went from a normal weight for me of 165 pounds or so, down to like 135 when I was really sick. And then I got well, or I wasn't so well, and I wanted to get into, adding more weight and muscle to my body, and I got up to about 200 pounds, and I'm like, this isn't healthy either. And so again, it was me the whole time saying, this is what I want, this is what I want. Okay, it's not what I want. And sometimes you get to a place and you realize, like, when I was like, I wanted to hit 200 pounds as a natural bodybuilder, that's something that I wanted to do. And again, I'm not out there competing. I'm not going to be Mr. Olympia. I'm not even I was about to enter my first competition. I tore my brachioradialis because again, I was way overextended for my natural body, but that's okay. But I learned from that. So what do? I go back to, again, I'm creating what I wish existed. This is the way I want my body to look. Okay, fine. Now I realize that's not it. So what do? Create something else in my life, a much healthier version of me, mainly mindset based. You can be okay in whatever body you are in. You're okay at 135 pounds. You're okay at 200 pounds. You're okay at 165 pounds. You're okay. You don't need to be anything for anyone other than what you want for you. So the goal to me is get yourself in as good a place as you can. Learn so much along the way. But eventually at the end of the day, you realize like, okay, I am the one responsible for my life. I'm going to do the very best with what I have at this moment. And I am going to create that which I wish existed. And by doing that, you are living the ultimate life. You're out there not necessarily getting the goal the next day. That's not necessarily what it's about. It's really not. But it's about living the life on a path that you feel is worthwhile. You're literally creating things in your life that you wish existed. To me, I'm telling you right now, I've just seen this in many of my friends and colleagues and certain family members that are doing this, that they are working on something worthwhile, that they are creating something that they wish there was more of in the world. Like one of the reasons why I created the Integrative Health Practitioner Institute is because I wish that there was a health coach in every home. That's what I wish. I wish that there was one person that was able to help their parents, their grandparents, their children, their siblings, their spouse, and even their larger family and community. That's what I wish. Because the information that we are given right now is so far from health. It's truly sick care. There is no more health care in conventional medicine. There's just not. And I'm sorry if you believe that, but there is not. Conventional medicine is amazing at acute-based disease and trauma. There's no doubt about it, and I'm glad that we have it, and it is brilliant. But when it comes to chronic-based health conditions, with the average American on 4 pharmaceutical drugs by the time they're an adult, that is not health care. So what I wish, what I believe, and what I wish existed was that there was someone in every family that would be able to take care of the family, an extended family. That's what I wish existed. So I work every day to help create that inside of the Integrative Health Practitioner Institute. Now, I have an amazing team. That team helps to bring that to fruition. Then there are almost 5,000 IHPs inside of this that are then able to bring that to more people, but we need more people. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on that for the rest of my life. And that is something that I wish existed. Now I can have different areas within my life that I wish existed too. And I'll continue to work on those. So I simply ask you this, going back to that mantra, create what you wish existed in this world and in your life. What are 1 or 2 things that you absolutely can't live without, that it wouldn't be a life you feel that was fulfilled if you weren't able to work on those things. If you start there, I'm telling you, that is the beginning of truly unlocking your happiness from within. Thanks so much for tuning into today's show. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Have an amazing day. And as always, if this show is helpful, please do feel free to share it with anyone you believe it could serve.